these pieces for yourself, and you mentioned that you also compose for others as well.
Yes.
How do you navigate, trying to find someone else's uniqueness and then crafting music around that when it's not yourself?
That's an interesting question, and the answer to that would be, it becomes just like having the intuition of knowing if it appears that it's going to rain just based on looking at the sky, or some people, they have certain physical changes in their body when it's about to rain or if rain is coming. Mine is the same thing. It stems, or starts rather, from initially hearing a person sing, if you will. And once I hear that person sing, if it becomes a distinguishable sound within my mind as I operate during the course of the week or the day, and I can hear that person's voice out of the thousand of songs that I hear every day, literally, I wouldn't say maybe 1,000, 500, okay. I'm talking to myself as if to remind me how much music I listen to. If that voice and sound resonates within my mind, my spirit, I automatically know that this is someone that I would like to engage in a musical relationship to craft a framework of music around their voice so as to present a certain artistry around that person's voice.
Yeah.
So it's very instinctive, but it's organic. I don't have to think twice about it. I know if this is somebody that I'm supposed to work with.
So as you're creating these sounds for yourself and others, you mentioned that, you started off with your, listen to your mother in the church.
Mm-hmm.
How, recently Aretha Franklin's passed, and, she was really big in the church as well. Mm-hmm. And you kind of find that a lot of artists tend to use church as part of their inspiration and growth musically. So how does that inform kind of what you're doing to create music now? What kind of influence the church has had on you, and how you think it affects your style today?
That was the medium by which, even though I probably didn't use it as much then when I was younger, but as I'm getting older now, I find that it provided me the framework and the foundation by which to treat people, or how I wanted to be treated, should I say, in terms of if there was a decision made in which to do musical business with this individual, way before whether they sound good or not. In most cases, these individuals probably had great voices, but like in anything that we do as human beings, you can be great at something, but not necessarily as a great person in what it is that you're doing, the person. So the church was the place by which I learned the importance of how to treat people, how to respect people, how I wanted to be treated, how I wanted to be respected. And then that carries into, if there is a level of trust and respect amongst myself and this individual who is possibly about to do business with me, then the music aspect becomes very simpler, very easier. We have a humanistic understanding that precedes the music. Thus, the music is just a mirror of what we, the two humans or multiple humans at that time, are engaged with. From a musical standpoint, the church allowed me a vehicle to musically express the gift that I obviously have been given since I was 7 years old. I tell this story often, and I'm very proud of saying it, because my mom and my dad, first of all, was a Baptist minister in Chicago. So they had a piano and organ at the home, and my 6 brothers and sisters would come home after church, and we would reenact everything that went on at church, that morning. And for whatever reason, and I do know the reason, that it was the gift that was given to me, I would always gravitate towards the piano. And I was able to pick out the melody of various songs, that I heard at church. That kept going over the years. Eventually, I took some lessons from different, church musicians. But it was once I decided to come to Atlanta, Georgia, which I'm so thankful that I did, 40 years ago this summer, in fact. That was the the door that was open to being able to now express all of this musical information that I had been around and had heard and seen, but wasn't legally, if you will, able to see another way in which to do that. I say this with respect to those individuals who are PKs. We live a very sheltered life, and for great reasons. I wouldn't trade my lifestyle that I was afforded by my parents for nothing in the world. We hear a lot of unfortunate stories about things and people as it relates to the goings on in the churches, but like in any sect, human beings are going to be human beings. You can't expect someone to not be a human being just because they're in an environment that suggests that you be perfect. There is no way to be perfect. With all that being said, coming to Atlanta allowed me an opportunity to express my imperfection as a human being while crafting this music in hopes of people seeing a perfect possibility in the world, in other people as well. And there you have it. It worked for me.
So when you first came to Atlanta and kind of bringing it up to now, like, how do you think you changed musically? So you said you came from the church, so you had that background. You come to a different city. Atlanta at that time had a big, funk and soul kind of vibe, I believe.
Right.
How did your music change over the years?
I think it changed based on my life evolving and changing as well. When I initially got here in 1978, I put my first band together, which was called Magic Dream. In fact, the brand that I'm now using as my trademark, which is Magic Dream, is the concept name that was given from my good friend Russell Woolfolk. And even in 1980, I was writing songs for this then jazz fusion band, which at that time it was kind of rare, because as music goes, as you just mentioned, most of the music that was being performed at that time and popular was R&B funk. As much as I liked R&B funk, I've always had this inner passion for expressing what I felt was a form of jazz. Jazz was introduced to me through my high school teacher, Joe Miller, as well as my dad, who not only was a minister, but he was a barber. So he cut hair downstairs in the basement. And it was in this area by which he played jazz music on the radio. Now, he wasn't comfortable listening to other types of music outside of the home, but in the home, this is where he was able to feel comfortable in expressing what he liked, which was not gospel necessarily. It was jazz music. So once I got to Atlanta, my ears reenacted musically everything that I had been hearing over the years, being downstairs in the barbershop with him. He actually had a barbershop as well where they played contemporary jazz music, R&B music, and I fused all that together to formulate what then was the beginnings of now what you hear, my style, my sound. No disrespect to the concept of smooth jazz, I respect it. However, I can honestly say my music is not smooth jazz. It's probably hard jazz, rough jazz. I also use the term jazzo, which is a combination of jazz and soul. You probably won't hear a lot of my music on your mainstream radio stations because I don't write my music to conform to a format. I write because it has to be written the way that it is. It has to be expressed the way that it is. So again, my music has definitely changed based on the changing of our times that we live in. My music also is a mirror of the social, political, humanistic struggles that we are challenged with every day, both white and blacks, or all other nationalities of people. And as people change, as society change, my music is just a mirror of the social atmosphere that's amongst us.